All right, we're going to do 502 minus 141. Notice I've already set our number up vertically. I have it lined up by place values. So the first thing, oh, and I had it reversed. So this is horizontally, this would be vertically. So the first thing we're going to do is look at our ones place. I have 2 on top, 1 on the floor. Well, if there's more on top, no need to stop, just subtract. So I look at the top, 2 is more, 2 minus 1 is 1. All right, so now I have to look again, but this time I am looking at the tens place. So I have 0 tens on top and 4 on the floor. Well, if there's more on the floor, we have to go next door. We can't take 4 away from nothing. So we have to go over to the next place value up and borrow, which would be the hundreds place. So there's my 4 on the floor, and I'm going to go next door to the hundreds place. So now we've already done the 2 minus 1, which gave us 1. Now we're in this tens place. We can't subtract 4 from 0. There's 4 on the floor, so we have to go next door. So we're going to take 100 from the hundreds place. So I start with my 5 hundredths. I don't have any tens right now. There's 0 tens, and then I've got 2 ones. Well, we're going to take this 100 and move it over here to the tens place, so we'll be able to subtract. So that means that we'll have our 5 hundredths, but we're moving one of them. So remember, we're taking one of those hundreds and moving it over here to the tens place. So what that looks like is we're crossing out the 500s because now we just have 4 hundreds in the hundreds place, and we've moved one of those hundreds over here to the tens place. So we have 1 less 100 in the hundreds place. And let me put, I don't want to forget those, my 2 ones I still have. So now that we've moved that 100 into the tens place, it's in the tens place, so we have to break it up into tens. So there are 10 tens in 100. So I have my 4 hundredths, and then I've got the 100 I moved over here to the tens place, and then my 2 ones. Now remember, we said we've got to break that 100 up. So I'm going to break this 100 up into 10 tens. All right, so now I have 10 tens. So we've got 10 more tens. Well, if you add 10 tens with 0 tens, that means that we now have 10 tens in the tens place. Now it's time to subtract my tens. Already subtracted my ones. 2 minus 1 gave me 1. Now I can subtract my tens. I'm going to take 4 away from 10. And 10 minus 4 is 6. So I have 6 tens left. Now I'm going to go to my hundreds place. I have 4 hundreds and I am subtracting 100. So 4 minus 1 will give me 3, which now gives me my answer, or my difference. 502 minus 141 equals 361. Okay, now we're going to do 400 minus 236. Oh my goodness, I don't know about you, but I notice zeros at my larger number that I'm subtracting from, because remember, the largest value always goes on top. 400 is greater than 236. I'm going to look at that ones place first. Oh man, I have 0 on top, 6 on the floor. Well, 6 is much more than 0. I have 6 on the floor. I have to go next door. And wait a minute. Do you see what I see? If I look again, hold on, there's a 0 and a 3 on the floor. I have to look again. If there's more on the floor, I have to go next door again, because look, 3 is more than 0. Well, I can't borrow from 0. That means I've got to go to my other neighbor. So I've got to go over to 100. So I'm going to borrow from the hundreds place. So let's take a look at this. So I know, switch to red. I feel like you can see that well. So when we look at this, we know, okay, I cannot take 6 from 0. I can't borrow from 0 in the tens place. I've got to go all the way over to this hundreds place. So we're going to start with our 400. So here is 400. That's my number. There's 400 in the hundreds place, 0 in the tens place, 0 in the ones place. Well, I've got to take away from the ones place, which means first I need to bring this 100 over to my tens place. So I've got this 100 in my tens place, but wait, if I've moved it over, I've got to break it up into 10 tens, because 10 tens is the same amount as 100. 10 tens equals 100. So I'm going to put my 10 tens. Great, so what I've just done, cross that out, which means this 100 is no more. It is all gone. It's completely gone. I'm going to scribble it out. Goodbye. And it's over here now. Which means if we look, there's 3 hundreds left in this hundreds place. And I've brought my 100 over here. I know that 10 tens make 100, so I have 10 in my tens place. All right, but wait a minute. I still haven't subtracted my ones place. Okay, so that means I've got to borrow from the tens who borrowed from the hundreds. So I've got to take this 10 and I've got to move it over to the ones place. So now I moved this 10 over to the ones place. So this one is goodbye. All gone because it's now over here. So I just took a 10 from there. Well, if I've taken 1 from 10, we look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tens left. Oh, Sorry, it's my dog. He's sneezing. Bless you. So we have 9 tens left. And now I've got to, you guessed it, break this 10 up into 10 ones. Because 10 ones equals 110. So I'm going to make my 10 ones all right, so what I just did is I took that 10 from here, brought it over here, and if you look, I've got 10 ones in the tens place. And remember, this has become a 9. It's no longer a 10 because I had to move one of those 10s over here to my ones place. Now, after all that borrowing, I am ready to subtract from my ones place. I have 10 on top after I've regrouped and borrowed. So now I can subtract my 6 ones from 10. 10 minus 6. So I can take away 6 of these ones, and I have 4 left. Okay, now, all right, I've got 9 in my tens place, and I'm subtracting 3. Well, if there's more on top, no need to stop. We're just going to subtract. So 9, take away 3, so 1, 2, 3, those are gone. 9 minus 3 is 6. And now I have 300s. Well, now I'm taking away 200s. So I'm going to cross out my 200. 3 minus 200 leaves me with 100. So 400 minus 236 equals 164.